I guess the biggest question is like how running changed your life.
Neighborhood, there was a lake that was actually 0.21 miles away from my house. So I started running from my front door to this lake, and there's a white picket fence around the lake. And by the time I got to the lake, there were silver flecks in front of my eyes, and I had to lay down in the grass right there. And I thought, this is where I die. Like
Right.
3 miles my ass. Like
Right.
I'm not even going to make it to half a mile.
Right.
And I think too, it's also this preconceived notion that running means just running. Like you can't do anything else. Like you can't slow down, you can't jog,
Right.
you can't walk, which is
Right.
which I know now is not true. But I'm laying there in the grass, and I remember thinking to myself, like almost myself standing over myself, saying, like, if a friend told me I couldn't do this, or if a friend told me that they couldn't do it, what would I say to them? And I was like, I have to get up. Like I gotta get up and I have to keep going. So I
Right.
get up and I probably run 0.21 more miles. I'm not kidding. I puked. Like I was like, this is so bigger than me. Like there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do a mile run, but I did. I know
Right.
that. And then the next day I got there and did it again. And the
Right.
next day I did it again and I did it again. And I remember somewhere in the middle of the month, just kind of going like, this, I can do this. Like I can keep doing this. And through the, the growth of that, it kind of created in me like this, I can do anything.
Right.
I will be honest, I never watched a New York City Marathon. I had heard of the New York City Marathon, but I'd never even thought of doing a marathon. I didn't even know how long a marathon was, how many miles it
Right.
was. I just knew it was a thing that people did,
It's long. It
Yeah,
is
it was
very
long.
long.
And I thought, and I remember watching the marathon, just flipping through the channels, and the marathon was on, and people are running, and this is this new thing I'm addicted to.
Right.
And you know, I won't say I made a commitment to myself, but I thought in that moment, just for a second, I was like, I might do that one day.
I mean, I don't want to call it a hobby, but something that you do other than running that you enjoy doing.
Something I do other than running that I enjoy doing.
It's creative. It's creative.
I do love to write. And
You.
I've loved writing ever since I was, that is the one thing that brings me all the way back to, my childhood. It's been the one thing that I've connected with always. I do have dreams of writing a book and, things like that. And
You're going to do
yeah,
it.
also dabbled in the idea of potentially starting a podcast. Starting out something that would obviously foster what I do love, which is running, and inspiring people that have just started out. And so I'd love to have an opportunity to talk to the beginner runner, because those are the people that I enjoy talking to the most, because they still have that fervor about them, this whole like endless possibility, naivety about it all that just is very inspiring to me.
Right.
And I cry the most when talking about running, when I talk about it at the beginning, them literally falling in love with something. And what they don't realize is what they're falling in love with is themselves.